Good morning, everyone. Let us start today's session. So, this is lecture number 7 of the engineering mechanics. During the last lecture, we were discussing about the resultant for the concurrent force system and steps to find out the resultant. So, we have solved some problems on the resultant for the concurrent force system. So, in this session, we will solve one more problem on the concurrent force system by using summation fx and summation fy, and then we will start with the law of parallelogram. So, this is the problem where a cylinder is supported by using two cables. So each cable has some weight. So cable 1 has 200 Newton weight, and the second cable it has 400 Newton weight. Theta for the second cable it is equal to 30 degree, and we have to determine the direction of the motion of the cylinder and the net force acting on it. Okay, where weight of the cylinder, that is W, is equal to 800 Newton. So this is the given condition, and we have to find out the net force and the resultant direction for the motion. So net force means what? We have to find out the resultant R acting on the cylinder because of the two forces. One force in the cable 1 and second force is cable 2. And the direction of motion means the cylinder will have the tendency to move in the direction of the resultant. That means we have to find out the angle of the resultant theta. So this theta direction or theta angle, it will represent the direction of the motion. So suppose this cylinder, it is kept on one horizontal surface like this, and this is the center of the cylinder. So two cables are connected to this center. So 200 Newton weight, it will create one tension force in the cable 1. So this is the direction of the tension force. So this tension force will be directed away from the center. Similarly, the 400 Newton force, it will also create the tension force in the cable, and this is the direction of the tension force. So assume this as a T1 and this is the T2. So basically this tension force is transmitted through this cable, and this tension will be same on the both the sides of this pulley. Okay, so requirement is this pulley, it must be frictionless. That means it is a smooth pulley. So if the frictionless pulley, it will transmit same force on the other side. So we can consider this as a T2, and this is also T2, and this is T1, this is the T1. Okay, and weight is 800 Newton. So this weight force, it will act exactly at the center. So this is the weight force, that is equal to 800 Newton. Okay, so now this system, it is the concurrent force system where three forces are acting at the same point, that is a point of concurrency. Okay, so we can draw one simplified diagram for the given system. So this is the cylinder, this is the weight force, this is W is equal to 800 Newton. Then this is the tension force, that is T2, it is equal to 400 Newton. Then this is T1, exactly horizontal in the negative x side, it is equal to 200 Newton. So take this point as a O. We can consider this as the origin. Okay, and for our reference, we can construct x and y axis from the origin. So this will form one rectangular coordinate system. So now we can resolve the forces. So you can resolve T2 or 400 Newton. So you can select any point along this line of action. So this is the vertical component, This is horizontal component. This angle theta, it is given as 30 degree. So this angle will be same, it is 30 degree. So x component, it will be 400. This is 400 cos 30 and y component will be 400 sin 30. Then tension T1, it acts along the x-axis or negative x-axis. Okay, so there is no need to resolve the force. This T1 is nothing but the x component. And similarly, weight 800 Newton, it acts along negative y direction. Okay, so 800 Newton is nothing but the y component. So we can write the summation Fx, which is equal to, consider the x component. So first is 400 cos 30 in the positive x direction. Then second component is 200 Newton in the negative x direction. So minus 200. Okay, so this will give the summation Fx value. Then find out the summation Fy. For summation Fy, first component is 400 sin 30 in the positive y direction. So this is 400 sin 30 and 800 Newton, that is a weight in the negative y direction. So this is minus 800. So this will give the summation Fy value. Okay, so calculate this value, 400 cos 30 and 400 sin 30 minus 800. Then find out the resultant value R. So it is square root summation Fx square plus summation Fy square. So your answer will be in Newton. Then this decide the quadrant. So quadrant we can decide depending upon the sign of summation Fx and summation Fy. So check whether it is in the first quadrant, second, third or fourth quadrant, and then find out the angle theta is equal to tan inverse summation Fy divided by summation Fx. Okay. So this theta is nothing but the direction of the resultant motion of the cylinder. Okay. So resultant motion will be in the same direction of the resultant R. So summation Fx value is plus 146.41. So that means summation Fx will act in the positive x direction. Summation Fy is minus 600 Newton. That means 600 Newton in the downward direction or negative y direction. And the resultant value R is equal to 617.6 Newton. So from this, we can observe resultant will lie in the fourth quadrant. Okay. So this is the resultant location. This is R. This angle is theta. So theta we can calculate by using summation Fy divided by summation Fx. So theta is equal to 76.29 degree. Okay. So this is the angle of resultant and this is the direction for the resultant motion. Special case for the concurrent force system where there will be only two forces. So such type of problem we can solve by using law of parallelogram. So what is the statement for law of parallelogram? As you can see on the screen, the law of parallelogram of the forces states that if two vectors acting on a particle at the same time be represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from the same point, the resultant vector is represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram drawn from the same point. Okay. So what is the meaning? Suppose we have one point and there are two forces simultaneously acting at the same point. One is F1. So this is the vector F1, and second force is F2. Okay. So these two forces simultaneously acting at a single point as shown in the figure. And suppose we construct a parallelogram from the F1 and F2 like this. So this will form one parallelogram. Okay. Then the diagonal of that parallelogram will represent the resultant in magnitude and direction. Okay. So this is the meaning of law of parallelogram. So we can, by using law of parallelogram, we can find out the value of resultant for force F1 and F2. So basically this is a concurrent force system. We can solve this problem by using summation Fx and summation Fy. Okay. But law of parallelogram will give the quick answer for the resultant of F1 and F2. So we can use the law of parallelogram if there are only two forces for the concurrent force system. So how to get the value of this resultant? So this is the formula for the resultant magnitude, and this is the angle theta. So R, that is resultant in the magnitude, we can represent square root. This is P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos of alpha. Okay. So what is P and Q? This P is nothing but the first force F1. This is Q, that is second force F2. Okay. And this alpha, it is the angle between these two forces P and Q, or F1 and F2. Okay. So square root P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos of alpha. This is the value of resultant, that is the diagonal, and the angle theta with respect to P force or the F1 force we can find out by using tan inverse Q sin alpha divided by P plus Q cos of alpha. Okay. So by using this formula, we can get the angle of the resultant. So this is the law of parallelogram. So law of parallelogram is only used if there are two forces in the concurrent force system. So we will solve one problem on the law of parallelogram, which consists two forces. So this is the system which consists two forces. One is 180 Newton and second is 80 Newton. Sorry, first is 120 Newton and second is 80 Newton. The angle of 120 with respect to horizontal is 30 degree. Angle of 80 Newton is 45 degree. And these two forces are acting at point. So take this point as a O. So basically this is a I bolt which is connected to the ground. So this is the I bolt. Okay. And these two forces, we can take this force as a P and this is Q. And question is determine the resultant. So determine R and the angle of resultant with respect to 120 Newton. So we can solve this problem by using law of parallelogram, because in the given system or given concurrent system, there are only two forces. Okay. So when we use the law of parallelogram, we need to construct one parallelogram. Okay. So for that, draw parallel line to 120 Newton. Okay. From the end point of the first vector or vector Q. Similarly, draw another parallel line from the 120 Newton. Like this. Okay. So their diagonal will represent the resultant. So this is the resultant R. So angle between the two forces as per the definition is alpha. Okay. So we can use the resultant formula. R is equal to, it is square root P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos of alpha. So alpha here we can find out by using 180 degree minus 45 degree minus 30 degree. Okay. So 45 plus 30, it is 75. 180 minus 75. So remaining value is 105 degree. So this is the value of alpha. So put the values in the formula for resultant. So P value is 120. Q is 80. Into cos of 105. So get the value for the resultant R. So the resultant R is equal to 125.8 Newton. Okay, check this answer. And then we have to find out the angle of resultant with respect to force P, that is 120 Newton. Okay, so this angle, it is represented as a theta with respect to P force, and the formula is theta is equal to tan inverse Q sin alpha divided by P plus Q cos alpha. So it is tan inverse (80 sin 105) and 120 plus 80 cos 105. Okay. So you will get the value theta is equal to 37.89 degree. So this is the direction of the resultant with respect to 120 Newton force. Okay, is it clear to you how to use the law of parallelogram and how to find out the resultant and the angle theta? So if there are two forces, then you can solve the problem by using normal procedure, summation fx and summation fy, or otherwise you can use directly law of parallelogram. So now we will solve one more problem on the law of parallelogram. So you can write down this statement. Find the magnitude of the forces P and Q. Find magnitude of forces P and Q such that if they act at right angle, the resultant is square root 34 Newton, and if they act at 60 degree, then the resultant is 7 Newton. Okay, so two conditions are given. In the first condition, forces P and Q, they are exactly right angle and the resultant value is square root 34. So consider the first case. Suppose this is P and this is Q. We don't know what is the magnitude of P and Q. Okay. but we have the relation for R square root 34 Newton. Okay. So we know the formula for law of parallelogram. So we can use that formula. R is equal to, it is square root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos of alpha. Okay. So R is equal to 34, sorry, root 34. This is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq cos of, now this angle between two forces is nothing but the alpha as per definition. Okay. So cos of 90. And what is cos of 90? It is 0. So we will get in square root p square plus q square, that is equal to square root 34. Okay. So we can square the both the sides. So we will get 34 is equal to p square plus q square. So we can take this equation as equation 1. Now refer the second condition. When the forces P and Q acts at a 60 degree, their resultant, it is equal to 7 Newton. So this is the second condition. This is P and this is Q. Angle alpha between the two forces is 60 degree. So use the same relation for resultant. So we can take the value 7. This is equal to in square root p square plus q square plus 2pq and cos of 60. So this is equal to 7 in the square root p square plus q square plus cos 60 is 1 by 2. So 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Remaining value is pq. Okay. So square both the sides. So we will get 49 is equal to p square plus q square plus pq. Okay. So we can take this equation as equation 2. From equation 1, we have the value for p square plus q square, that is equal to 34. So we can put this value in this equation. So we will get 49. This is equal to, this p square plus q square is equal to 34 plus pq. So pq we will get 49 minus 34. Okay. So that is equal to 15. And then we can write either p in terms of q or q in terms of p. So let us take q is equal to 15 divided by p. So now you can put this value either in equation 1 or equation 2. So let us take this value q, which is equal to 15 upon p, and put this in equation 1. Okay. So we will get 34, it is equal to p square plus 15 square divided by p square. Okay. So just multiply this. So 34 p square, it is equal to p raised to 4 plus 15 square is 225. So from this we will get p raised to 4th minus 34 p square plus 225, it is equal to 0. Okay. So this equation, it is similar to the quadratic equation. Okay. So this equation, it is a fourth order equation. We can convert this in quadratic equation. So let us assume p square, it is equal to x. Okay. So replace the value p raised to 4th, it will become x square, and p square is x. So we can convert this equation as a quadratic equation. So you can observe here. So we get the equation x square minus 34x plus 225, which is equal to 0. Okay. And solve this in equation mode in your calculator. So you will get two roots. One is x1, that is equal to 25. And second root is x2, that is equal to 9. Okay. So basically this x value is nothing but p square. So we will have first value p square, it is equal to 25. Second value p square is equal to 9. So we will get p is equal to 5 and p is equal to 3. Okay. So if you put the value p is equal to 5 in this equation, then we will have q is equal to 3. And if you put p is equal to 3 in this equation, then you will get q is equal to 5. Okay. So this is the final answer for p and q.